Good afternoon and welcome to our session. My name is Latasha Casterlow-Lalla, and I am the supervisor of visual and performing arts for the Passaic Public Schools located in Passaic, New Jersey. We are excited to be here with you and to share some time with you during this fantastic conference. Special thanks to Music First and Jim and to Rachel and the entire team for offering the opportunity for me to speak with you. So today, what we're really going to take time to do is to talk a little bit about multiple instructional approaches to what we've done. In Passaic Public Schools, we have had a really challenging time in this transition, as so many other districts within our nation have done. The idea of going remote for 2 or 3 days, more or less than 3 or 4 months, was absolutely daunting at first, but we made it through. And today I'm going to share a couple of pieces of the experiences that we had, the lessons that we learned, and where we're moving forward to ensure that our students have the best opportunities with music education, whether we are in person, hybrid, or of course, virtual. So on today's agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about ourselves and talk about the 4 steps that we went through in this process as we embraced and learned and grew in distance learning. We're going to be talking about it a little bit from the musical perspective, choral, instrumental, as well as general music. And my district, which is a K-12 district, is a very vibrant and unique place. Passaic Public Schools is located 12 miles outside of New York City. We are a small but mighty community with 15,000 students in our 3.2 square miles. We are very densely populated, and we work hard and tirelessly with our wonderful staff of 26 music teachers to make sure that our students get everything that we can possibly get them, make sure that they are appreciators of our music, of our culture, of learning, and we try to produce the best musicians that we possibly can with that. We have a great dynamic staff, and when I always say the word we, I never think of this work on my own. My work could never happen without those amazing 26 talented teachers. So I'm grateful for them and hoping that they're doing well and enjoying their well-deserved summer break. So our first part of our session will be talking about swift transitions. It's incredible how quickly we went from that conversation of in-school sessions and getting ready for testing, and even just the idea of concert season, approaching and preparation to virtual learning and full virtual learning. So for our district, we really went from that whole idea of on-site to remote conversations, and those conversations happened so quickly. I'd say within a week, we were full on into discussing, talking, creating, and launching lessons for our 15,000 students. So one of the biggest challenges that we had as we went along with this journey was the variety of courses for our departments, and our departments cover dance, music, theater, media arts, and visual arts. We have a total of 90 courses. So we're sitting thinking, wow, how are we going to pull in all of the variety and the richness of experiences that our students have in these hands-on based experiences with our teachers in the classroom at home? So that was one of the first challenges, was bringing together a small team of our professionals to sit down and discuss what would be the best way to go about dealing with instruction and making sure that we were helping students continue to grow while understanding some of the varying challenges of not being able to control the learning environment, which we've all done in our practice. Also thinking about quality instruction. How are we going to make sure that students are getting the best instructional strategies, differentiation, support, and resources if we're not in our typical learning space? Of course, we're also thinking about the authentic learning tasks, because now that we're not sitting in front of one another, we have to think about how can we support students in learning and in growing and making sure that the learning that we're doing is authentic. We've worked over the past 4 years to ensure that our students have that type of experience and trying to figure out what we were going to do because I don't think that we've ever thought about instruction not face-to-face. And then last but not least, we thought a lot about skill maintenance. So as musicians, we're thinking about students who are singing with us, students who are playing instrumental music. How are we going to make sure that we continue to grow along with them in their skills, help them maintain the skills that we've already gone through this year, and continue that progress, both to support our programs, our concert programs, our student growth, and students who are in preparation for collegiate or even regional or local competitions. So we started to think, okay, well, what are the challenges? And I'm sure that many of you in your respective districts face some of these challenges that we also looked at. Device access was probably our largest hurdle to climb, because we weren't sure who had devices and who did not have devices. So we worked really hard as a department and as a district to ensure that we figured out who had what was the access, how much access did they have, and all the small nuances that make a huge difference when you're trying to reach out and extend to students who are no longer coming into the school environment. Then we really wanted to take a minute and just focus on our staff. My staff is diverse, they're innovative, they have a wide range of experiences, and that's inclusive of technology, because our dependence on technology went from maybe 10% to almost 95 to 100%. So we really wanted to say, okay, what do our staff members need to be successful? So one of the things that we started to do was we really started launching these opportunities where we spoke together. So we would meet on, Google Meet calls, and we would just sit down and talk quite a bit about where we stood, what was great about where we stood, what was not great about where we stood, and also what was everyone's familiarity with some of the tools. As a district, we kind of launched Google Classroom. We've done that in several different classes, primarily on the secondary level. And so we started to introduce that as a unit. And I asked all of our team members to create a Google Classroom for their general music, that's elementary general music, all the way through all of our ensemble programs and our rest of our K-12 program, just so that they had a way of reaching students, sharing notices and information, announcements, details. And it was a safe way for our teachers to communicate with our parents and with our students. But along those ways, we had some people who had never touched Google Classroom. So we really did, as a team, have to support one another on how to access, how to upload, how to create, how to add students, from those basic pieces all the way to the more complex areas that we wanted to work on. And then, of course, the established communication process. So I think that a lot of our teachers, and maybe many teachers from all across the country, always use their room, their stage, their ensemble practices as like the meeting grounds. Well, that was what we were very dependent upon. And so for the first time, we really had to take a minute and say, we no longer have that tool. What are we going to do? So we decided that we would just move forward and say, let's find kids and reach them as we could. So many of our teachers had lists, so they were able to contact homeroom teachers and contact students to join their Google Classrooms so that they could participate in the ensemble-based programming. Some teachers already had certain platforms that they were utilizing to reach students that were safe and reliable and established with their families and with the parents. So those were really helpful in doing so. But we really learned as a huge lesson the need to have multiple means of communication with students, whether we are on site in school or not. So just something for you in your time to stop to reflect on what you're going to do. How are you going to make sure that you're reaching those students? Then we had to think about instructional delivery. When we initially began, we didn't have a policy around how to communicate with students using Google Meet or Zoom. So that was something that as a district, we wanted to make sure that we created because we wanted to protect our students. Some of our parents And parents from all over are quite concerned about children, images, video being available online. So we as a district took the time to make sure that we had that quickly implemented so that we could protect the privacy of our students and of our families. And then making sure that we could figure out what instructional delivery was going to look like if we weren't able to physically see each other or virtually see each other, and how we were going to proceed. So we came up with a few ideas that we're going to be sharing with you as we go along. This includes ensemble-based instruction. Ensemble-based instruction, I think, was probably our highest priority and our largest concern, because we had some students who had their instruments in school, some had left at home, some were saying they weren't sure where it was, some were staying with relatives and family and weren't staying home and didn't have it. So we wanted to make sure that what we provided students with in reference to theory and just fingering and just thinking about what else can we work on if we're not physically together and playing. Of course, materials and supplies were an issue and a concern that we had to address and to look at and explore on how we could best support students in that process. And then we have so much curriculum and so little time. So we really wanted to sit down and we just kind of looked at what our curriculum said, and we tried to scale back as much as we possibly could and get right down to the meat and potatoes of what we felt students needed to retain and to keep. So our next part was connecting. We really wanted to focus on kids knowing that we were here, that we were supportive, that we were there, that we are available to them, and we want to know how they're doing, because the students were going through such a shift and a transition. And so was our team, because there had never been a time beyond our summer breaks that we have gone this long without seeing our kids. So we really wanted to focus and emphasize on how we were reaching our kids. So again, like we talked about with the Google Classroom and some of the other virtual platforms that are out there, establishing some clear and secure ways to communicate with our two students and with our parents, letting them know that we were here. So we spent about a week or two just checking in. How are you? How's it going? How is your family? Do you have what you need? You know that in kind of sharing some of the resources, like we had food pickup that people had. If people needed technology, we had a pickup for that. We wanted to make sure that our students were taken care of. So it's really critical to think about the social emotional learning perspectives that I'm sure you've heard so much from so many other nonprofits such as Arts Ed Now, focusing on making sure that how students are doing, both mentally and emotionally. This transition is unprecedented, as we've all heard and we've all discussed in our professional and our private lives. It's the same for our students. So really taking that moment back to sit and just see how they are, where they are, and respecting where they are. I think one of the biggest takeaways that our staff took from this experience was thinking about the experience of your children in their homes. We often think about what's going on in our environment, which is school, which we fully control. But now we had to really be thoughtful about, well, if the student can't practice, well, why can't they practice? What are the other elements that are going on that I may not be aware of or privy to, or even thinking about in my day-to-day of trying to make sure that we have excellence and rigor and making sure that our programs are continuing to thrive and to strive towards excellence. So we really took some time to talk as a team and to reflect as a team about what that meant. And how could we best support our students, and making sure that when we ask them for tasks and responsibilities and assignments, that we were being thoughtful about everything else that could possibly be going on with them. We had to reinvent how we reached them. I mean, I had some great innovative teachers who came up with all different types of things that we're going to be discussing. And the cool part about that were students were looking for the next great thing. Some teachers did videos, some teachers did like secret messages, all these little things to kind of engage and bring in the students. And listen, to be very fair and honest, we didn't get 100% participation, but we did reach a lot of our kids. And we wanted to make sure that they knew that we love them, that we care for them, and that we're here for you musically and beyond, and that we're going to be here for you through this entire process. One piece that I'm not sure many communities have to worry about, but for us, we are absolutely committed to making sure we reach every student. So many of our parents are not English speakers, or are, maybe bilingual speakers, or just prefer to read something in their native language. So we really worked hard on making sure that everything that we sent home was translated in the language of that parent. For us, our dominant language is Spanish. So we made sure that when we did all of our assignments, when we did our correspondence, everything was translated into Spanish, because we know that with the support of our parents, especially in this situation, we could be successful. But without their support, we would really have a difficult time. And what we found was we had a lot of great feedback from our families in reference to that. They were excited to know what we were doing and understand what we were doing. Many of them were surprised by some of the things that we do with our students, especially in the music realm. And we're really looking forward to the next thing that we were going to be doing with them. So our goal was to continue to build a bigger community, not just the students who participate in our programs, but now even building and welcoming in their families beyond attending our assemblies and our concerts and our showcases, but really helping them to become an active participant in our program. Lastly, we wanted to really emphasize maintaining the community of our ensembles. And my ensemble teachers really kind of banded together and said, we need to start a little bit of work around what we're going to do to continue to keep ensembles alive in this unprecedented time. And we did some of that, and we'll share some of that with you soon too. So, new innovations. We really got creative and did some deep soul searching as a team, talking, sometimes arguing, sometimes debating. And I think we came out so much better, stronger, and closer as a result of that. We really wanted to make sure that we were doing things that would impact our students greatly. So we started thinking about, well, what is this new reality going to be like? And this new reality is joyful and wacky and innovative and scary. And we owned every single step of that. And, I think the best part was I found that my team members were supporting each other along the way. Some are stronger in certain elements than others, but we started holding weekly meetings with each other. That was one of the first things that were very impactful. Just checking in. How are you doing? How are your family members? Where are you at? Because we knew that, listen, in order for us to be there to check on our students, we have to check in on our teachers too. So, I'd like to lay that platform for them and give them space to talk and to just share that frustration. And I'm all about that, right? Sharing the frustration. And so let's get that out. And now let's come up with some solutions. So here are some of the solutions that we came up with. The first thing that we looked at when we thought about new innovation were choice boards. So when we worked with our K-2 population, specifically in the general music realm, we really started thinking about, wow, we have students in varying ranges. K, they're still learning to read. And one, they're securing those skills. Two, I don't know what access to materials. So we didn't want to take anything for granted as we began this process. So we created these choice boards, simple. We asked students to pick 3 boxes, and they would do 3 boxes a week, because we, in our regular schedule, see our students once a week for about 42 minutes. So we knew we wanted to give them something to kind of light the spark, but understanding that, listen, we know that they were dealing with other important content issues just as much as music. So we wanted to give them things that were fun, innovative, creative, and also engaging with the family, because we knew if we could continue to get families to engage, that our students would be more likely to complete their assignments. So one of my favorite ones that we did was have the students sing the Peanut Butter Jelly Time song and clapping to the steady beat. And what we found was students weren't just doing the assignments and saying, I did it. We were getting videos from families, and sometimes it would be mom and child, and sometimes it would be grandma and child, or sometimes it would be a whole family. And the interesting part was we saw the innovation of TikTok too. So we saw that some of our challenges started showing up on TikTok with some of our families. So we were really excited to see that students were doing that and applying that. Sometimes we asked them to create to make creative movements to songs, or to tell a family member to tell them a story about a favorite artist or band and play the music for them. We wanted to take a holistic approach because we knew that we just could not ask and demand too much of our families because there were so many other demands that were going on at the same time. We wanted to present music as a really therapeutic, a fun, and innovative things where students are applying their skills all the time and having the fun with it. And eventually we say we're going to catch them up and help them realize how much musicality that they actually had along the way. So the next thing that we started looking at was some asynchronous learning models and how we were going to approach that. And so asynchronous learning is when there's something that's pretty much recorded and offered to a student. Students don't have to go on at a certain day or time. They have flexibility in how they access the information. So we're really privileged. We had one of our music teachers, Mrs. Jalen Webb, she started creating these innovative videos. And she would do the videos based on some of the assignments that we would give the students. So she would give them a little bit of background information, share a couple of tidbits, model a little bit of something, and then guess what? Send the students off and say, hey, complete your work and send it back into us. We did use Google Classroom to support that, Google Docs, Google Sheets, so that students could take a copy of the document, complete their work, and resubmit it to their teacher for credit. So we saw that the videos really engaged the students and the families because they were like, okay, well, when's the next video coming? We're like, it's a video a week. So we were really glad to see the excitement and the innovation that she took in just saying, I'm not just going to hand out the sheet. I'm going to bring and breathe life into it. And we found that students were really receptive to that. We also did a few different things. So for our K2, we definitely stuck with the choice boards. We thought that that was the easiest way to do that. And then for our 3-5 group, we actually started thinking about talking about their favorite genres of music, their favorite artists, discussing note identification and note values and rhythmic composition. We utilize all of those pieces to help to engage our students. And we found some really interesting things. Some students created it, did what they needed to do to complete the assignments. And some students went above and beyond the call of duty. They created the videos, they did I think we had one who did like stop motion animation using their musical skills. So they combined two art forms. So we really started to welcome that. And we started learning that, wow, we have some talented students who can demonstrate their talent in more ways than just one. For our 9-12 population, we really focused on a learning management system so that we can address them, and we wanted to be concerned with their credits. So we wanted to make sure that every student, like in the state of New Jersey requires, gets that 5 credits for visual and performing arts. And so what we did was we utilized this online program. It had a fully created curriculum, and our teachers would engage with students and support them in their learning. Students were able to do readings, listening sessions, essays, short responses, and then have interaction with their teacher. So we utilized the learning management system and supported that with the content that was already online. And teachers gave their feedback. Some teachers loved it. Some teachers did not love it. So we are actually looking at what we're going to be doing in the event that we have a virtual model in the future. So we're trying to do a combo approach. And we actually, as a district, just started utilizing the Canvas model. So it allows us to have students take video of themselves, and doing, assignments, work, asking questions of their teachers. And we have about 12 teachers right now who are launching it. and trying to bring our students into the fold, which will help them to be better prepared for college because it's a very popular system at the collegiate level. So asynchronous learning is a great way to go. It's innovative and it's fun for the students. And it really gives your teachers an opportunity to do a little bit more. It's something that we're exploring as well for our instrumental program with some tried and true how-to videos. We're looking to launch that in the fall so that students have some resources available to them. The beautiful thing that we're noticing is that we see some students who want to go 1,000 miles a minute. So we don't want to hold them back. We want to say, hey, you're in grade X and you want to keep going and you're building skills to go to grade Z, well, we're going to send you right there and we're going to give you the skill set that you need to go along with that. We also explored synchronous engagement. So this current summer, we just launched our first full virtual enrichment program. This was a big feat, but we were really excited about it. So we just ran a 4-week course. We have it for 2 of the contents that I supervise, music, as well as visual arts. And students sign on every day for about an hour a day, and they engage with their teacher. So the teacher does, meet and greet, small mini lesson, modeling activity, and then we get the students right to work. And have them apply what they're learning in the class and really focus on composition and creation. So the one that we just ran was a songwriting class, and students were writing their own songs from the perspective of a highly contentious topic in the world. And students are doing such amazing work. The creativity that we're seeing that's being launched is really phenomenal. And we're really focusing in on songwriting because it's not something that we're doing in a lot of our ensemble-based programs. We're really always pushing our students with content that's already created. So now we're starting to launch this and we're seeing some really great options for our students because we're always trying to use our enrichment opportunities as a way to kind of test the pool of what our students are wanting to see and have high interest in. So the synchronous model has been really great. We're really excited about what we could possibly do with that in the fall. We're still in the decision-making process for that. I will say that there's a couple of benefits. One thing is students get to see their teachers every day. We find that the younger students like that most. The older students may not like the singing part, but they do love the connecting part. Our program that we ran this summer was grades K to 8. So we had a wide range of participants from schools all over our district giving us that feedback. So we're really excited about what we were able to do and hoping to see how much more we can do with that as well. One caveat that I would say, because a lot of people always ask us about, what about the videos, the cameras? Do you show yourselves? Do the students show themselves? We do that actually. What we've been doing so far is we ask the students to do one of 2 options. Number 1 option is we show faces. Number 2 option is students put the camera facing the work that they're working on. And we've given those 2 options to our students because we want to have that level of engagement with them. We haven't had an issue with students being willing to do so. They seem to be just fine with so. However, it's really important that when you're working on any of these models, asynchronous, synchronous, that you get a pulse on what your district is looking for, what the policy says, because you want to make sure you're not violating your rights of teachers, or the rights of your students. So make sure that whenever you're doing that, you want to make sure that you check those pieces out because they are critical and they're important. And I find that when we do these things and we ask and we inquire, we get more buy-in from our parents, our students, our teachers, just to give engagement. Synchronous versus asynchronous. I mean, it's similar to this. Like, I miss talking to you live. I love talking to folks live, but we also know that there are limitations to all the things that we do. So it takes additional time, of course, for asynchronous instruction. You have to tape record it. You may have to do a little bit of editing, pull it all together, or shorten it depending on what your time frames are. Whereas synchronous learning, you're live and Whatever's happening is happening. I have kids, I have a dog. Sometimes there's a bark. Sometimes there's somebody who walks in. So it has its pluses and minuses on both ends. But, it's just thinking about how you can use the technology to help you reach our students and keep them engaged in the learning process. So our approaches were really fun. I'm really excited about some of the work that we're doing. I'm more excited about some of the plans that we haven't gotten to yet as well. But we really are trying to reach our students. So I'm really excited about Music First. We had about 10 of our teachers use Music First and launch it with some students, just a soft launch during this time when they sponsored the free, the joining for our teachers. And the teachers really came to appreciate and loved it. One of the biggest pieces that we're looking at using Music First with is with our ensemble programs. We're really concerned with students lagging behind in skills, not helping them grow, not having appropriate and correct feedback in reference to their technique and their playing. So we're looking we're going to be using this program for all of our ensemble programs, our choral programs. We have K to 12, instrumental programs, grades 4 to 12. That's including our concert band, and as well as our orchestral program, and then our modern band program, which we offer from 4 to 12. So we're going to be utilizing it, helping bring in, different types of music, exercises, some of our standards books that we're using for instruction. We're really excited about the possibilities that we can use with Music First. In reference to basically 3 main areas. No accuracy is important. So we want to make sure that our students are learning proper technique, of course, and producing sound and producing the sound that we're trying to get them to, which correlates with what the music says. So we're really excited about the possibilities that this no accuracy is going to give us through the Practice First program. I'm over the moon about what possibilities this can do for our program. We have students in a lot of different buildings, and we have a lot of different experts. And sometimes our experts can't always get to every building. And someone is an amazing saxophonist, but they only teach in building X. And we're looking forward to being able to leverage the expertise of our entire staff globally in our district without having to worry about their proximity to location. So we're really excited about what that's going to produce. Then we're looking at tone quality, intonation. The program has features that are incredible in the respect that students can play using a cell phone, using a tablet to record themselves and get instantaneous feedback about where they were, what they might need to do. And the beautiful part about that is we can share that feedback with our teachers, and our teachers can then have conversations with our students in small group instructions and larger ensemble instructions. Via Google Classroom, we can use a Google Doc to communicate back and forth. Like, we're really excited about what we're going to be able to do to continue and pushing forward instrumental music and choral music, a modern band, and feel that we're not going to have to sacrifice that because we're not physically in the presence of one another in teaching. Most importantly, we're thinking about the building of repertoire, individualized skills, and really giving students the opportunity to focus as a solo performer. We are huge in ensembles, we're pushing them, and we do push students in our their solo endeavors, but we're kind of taking this time to really examine what a student wants to play. What do you want to learn? What do you want to do? How do you want to challenge yourself? And I'm really excited that we have students who are really energetic and looking forward to it. And we're actually thinking about coming up with a system where students kind of give their own challenge to themselves. And this is absolutely wonderful, especially at a time like this. Students need activity and task and purpose to continue to keep them busy. And we feel that by giving students opportunities to play the music they want to play, to showcase it, to grow, it's going to do nothing but benefit 1, student self-esteem, 2, student skill, 3, students' ability as a musician, and then 4, the residual benefit of all is that we will have better musicians, more dedicated musicians, more committed. And these are students who are going to be self-starters with good guidance. So we're excited about the possibilities of using the Music First program and the Practice First program as well. We are also over the moon about using Soundtrap. We are really, really, really privileged. At one of our academies, the Passaic Preparatory Academy, we have launched in the last 2 years a music technology program. We have a full music technology studio completely equipped. And with the use of Soundtrap, our students are going to continue to be able to learn and to grow. The challenge, of course, is that with the wonderful equipment we have in school, it's amazing, except we're not in school. So because we're not there, our students don't have the same access and quality of instructional program. But we have a great talented teacher, Miss Aitza Burgos, who is working to learn and grow with Soundtrap so that we can continue students on the path of their career and technical education program in music tech, so that we can keep them growing and making music and being creative and really applying the skills that we've been working so hard to develop over the last year. So we also are thinking about this innovative approach. So we have spent the last 4 months going in on what innovation will look like, specifically in our general music program. So we, unlike other folks, we're receiving a little bit of a dip of participation from students. So this is the beauty of that. The beauty is that our district is offering so many incredible programs for our students. Our students are just going like wildfire to learn and to grow, whether that's in our Science and Engineering Academy, at our comprehensive high school, Passaic High School, where they're doing graphic design and automotive and finance. We are doing as much as we can, which is a great thing. What we also are now doing is saying, okay, we've got to solidify what is going on at the early years to ensure that our students are more than equipped to prepare to join our ensemble and our choral programs. So we've taken a 3-tier approach to this innovation. And so we've pretty much looked at the new standards. The state of New Jersey just approved standards on June 3rd. So yay to our team. They were awesome with the writing team. And we are trying to now infuse those new standards into what we're doing. So we've been working on this project, and we feel like we made a lot of headway during distance learning time. So we really wanted to create it based on 3 main pillars. Pillar number 1 is culturally relevant pedagogy. And so culturally relevant pedagogy is using students' personal experiences, things that are relevant to their lives, culture is everyone's culture. So it's not just from an ethnic group. If you're African American or Latino, we're using the culture of our community. We're using the culture of our state, of the region that we live in, of our country. We're using culture from different of our teachers and our district. We really want it to be all inclusive, focus on high expectations, and giving kids opportunities to really value what they know and bring it into the music room. That's our big push. We want to see students being a part of the creative process. So we had surveyed some students and got some feedback from them about what they're looking for, what they want, because we were doing fine. We always feel great about K1, 2, 3. But then that 4, 5 grade and 6, 7, 8, we feel like it's a little bit rocky. So we wanted to think about what students wanted. And so we started taking into what they said. And so teachers started surveying their students. And we had kind of started this process a little bit before we had the COVID-19 shutdown. And then we just started getting teachers, tell me what your kids want. So one of the 2 things that we as an entire team agreed upon were foundational skills and techniques. We know that we need students to be great musicians and give them the launching pad to do so. So we wanted to make sure that whatever we did, whatever we created, it was created from that vantage point. And so we thought about what was important. What did we want students to know before they left the general music foundation? Because we know that we may not have them again until They'll have them in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, depending on what they choose. And then in 9 through 12. So we wanted to make sure that we gave them something great. And so that by the time that student's walking in to the ensemble-based programs, these students need to just learn how to work with that instrument, put it together, how it works, what its parts are. But when it comes to all the other pieces, being able to be a strong musician as a reader, a strong musician as a creator and a composer, we wanted to have those things. So those are some of the pieces that we wanted to focus in on, as well as the elements of music. Super important and clear. And then we really focus on genres. And so this is something new and innovative that we're doing, and we're really excited about it. And I just want to give credit to the 5 incredible women who are educators, who are rock stars, who helped to create this entire system. That is Jalen Webb, Krista Mersick, Valerie Lapuzzo, Yuko Yamauchi, and Amanda Rice. They have all come together to kind of decide where we're moving with this. So our genre-based approach is looking at popular music and infusing popular music into our curriculum. So one of the pieces as a philosophy, I feel, is if you don't mention something, then it is seen as not important. And we really had to reflect from a culturally relevant pedagogy approach that the music that our students identify, listen to, embrace, we don't play in school. We don't celebrate it in school. We don't talk about it in school. And I reflected and said, that's not acceptable. We need to move forward so that we can embrace that. That doesn't mean that we cut out the other things that we used to do. There's a beautiful place to embrace all music: classical music, rock, pop, country, hip hop, rap, salsa, merengue, bachata, cumbia, soca, calypso, reggae, Eastern Asian music, British rock invasion. We wanted to show our students everything. And the beautiful part is that when we go back to the issue of foundational skills and techniques, we wanted to make sure that we connected the skills and techniques to the genres. So what we've actually done is we've created modules and we've connected all of the genres to modules. And we kind of give students like a 3 or 4 week intro to different genres throughout their entire educational career for us, K to 5. And so the idea is that we help, one, introduce students to different types of cultural relevance within our country and help them understand a little bit more about the music that they listen to and they love, and why they may listen to it and love, and why their families may say, hey, that's an old song that we did. We feel like this might be a wonderful way for us to engage families as well, to bring them in. And I think also it helps students to learn and connect to other areas that they're learning about in other core contents. So we felt like this genre approach is going to be really exciting. So we talk about a genre and we share a few different elements. We share characteristics, origins, famous artists, and we don't just talk about it in a music history type way. We infuse the music in the skills that we're teaching our students every single week. So we're excited about this innovation because we believe that we're really going to pull students in. And it's amazing to see the interest so far. We've started to do like a soft launch with that songwriting course, and students are like completely zoned in and excited. And the beautiful part too is students learn more music that they may hear and connect to. Some of the students were saying, hey, I've heard that song when we're in the mall. Or my mom plays that song every time, she has a great day. So we really want to help build conversations around music and really focus on the artistic processes that are in the national core art standards, as well as now in our New Jersey core art standards, and making sure students understand that music is well alive, it's growing, it's evolving, it's developing, and all music, regardless of our personal opinion, is music. That is the way that we can continue to keep the content alive and vibrant and moving. So, we're trying a few different things. We're like octopus, right? We're trying to use all 8 of our tentacles and we're trying to reach. But the most important thing is we're trying to build connection with our students. The world is a really challenging place right now. There's a lot going on. Our students are aware of a lot. If that's not their awareness of what's going on with the COVID-19 pandemic, they may be focused on the Black Lives Matter movement, immigration, issues of access to clean water. Like, our students are vibrant, they're aware, and they're ready to create change. And so we wanted to create something that helps to inspire them, and help them understand that, they're doing some great innovation, but there's some really cool people along the way who may be still in your presence that were doing some of that innovation too. So I hope that some of what I shared today will help you along your journey and trying to figure out what's going to happen next. So I'm sure you're asking me, well, what's next? What are you doing in the fall? We're going to do a combination of everything that I shared with you today. We are working on launching some asynchronous models so that we can help students who need that. Also, some synchronous models where students get to see somebody live and direct and feel the vibe and the energy from our teachers. And then we're really looking at shifting what we're doing in the general music model. We want to ensure that students just keep making good music. And good means music, because it's not our area to do the judgment of what is and what isn't. It's our area to create people who want to create and to make and to share and to give that to the world. That's our gig. So we're hoping that, of course, we'd all love to go back to school, but health and safety is always first. So we will allow those folks who make those types of decisions to do that. But in the meantime, I think we're looking at focusing on the joy, the fun of what we create, and keeping the community of musicians united, whether we are physically together or apart. That's our goal. And we hope that in this process, something that was shared today will help you make those same things happen for your students and in your community. If you'd love to reach out to me, feel free to do so. I'm pretty easy to contact. You can always send me an email. My email address is at the bottom of the PowerPoint. You can also follow me on Twitter. I tend to do that, or Facebook at Latasha Casterlow and Lalla in parentheses. And I'm around. So if you have questions, wonders, ideas, feel free to let me know. If you wrote any of the names of the team members down, feel free to reach out to them. They are incredible musicians, incredible educators who are truly committed to making sure that our students win. I'll be here in the chat for a while, so feel free to go ahead and ask those questions. And I hope that you will look at and explore the beauty of using music first as a technology tool for your team to help continue to get students making music. I only talked about 2 features. They've got so much more. So look out, research, and if anything, always feel free to reach out. Thanks so much for joining us today, for spending some time with us. I hope you and your families remain safe and well. And I hope you get to enjoy some of this beautiful summer. The weather is great, a little hot, but we'll take it because soon it'll be a little cold. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. And I thank you for your time and your patience and your energy.